And with that, I would like to ask you to join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tilly, could you conduct a roll call
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
here?
Councilman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fideli,
Here.
Councilman Midwood,
Here.
Councilwoman Winkler. Here.
Thank you. The agenda has been distributed. I do not have any amendments to the agenda. So with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. I've got a couple of comments. First of all, we've had election day, and I would just like to commend everybody who ran for office and to congratulate those who have won so far. Also, just to mention that I did call Greg Pulver yesterday and expressed our thanks for the work that he has done on our behalf over the time that he's been county legislator. I also spoke to Sue Serino today and congratulated her on her election and told her that we have lots of things that we are working with the county on, and that we look forward to continuing to work on those. And she mentioned how special she finds the town of Northeast, and so on. Couple of other items. One, I mentioned at the last board meeting that on Morse Hill Road, that because Central Hudson had removed some big high power wires that actually crossed that road and taken out a lot of trees, that there was a very steep embankment now next to the road. And Bob has reported to me that the highway department has been able to have installed a new guardrail on that section of Morse Hill Road, and it is in place, and I'm glad, because it was actually quite a dangerous spot. This was something that had been brought to my attention by neighbors there, and I'm really glad that this is one of those things that we can say, you should have a guardrail. We want to get you a guardrail, and we can actually check that box that we got the guardrail. Let's see, we are looking, at the last meeting, we appointed Rob Kubak to the Board of Ethics. And I am looking forward to scheduling a meeting of the Board of Ethics in the next month or two before the end of the year. There is also a vacancy on the Board of Assessment Review. This is the second vacancy I think that we've had on that board in the last year or so. We will make notice of that. We'll put it on the website. We'll put it on the bulletin board. Put it on, we'll make that known, and we'll be interested in anybody who's interested in serving on that board. I had, since our last meeting, I've had two meetings, I think, with the fire commissioners with regards to Northern Dutchess paramedics and our concerns about their service. And there are really two aspects of our concern. One, I think I mentioned last month, is that next year will be the last year that we have a contract with them for their coverage. And one of the things that we will be doing during the year is to we have a year to do it, but a year can go by very quickly, is to start strategizing what is the best, most cost-effective method of providing emergency services to our people in the town. The second thing that we discussed was a concern that under the existing contract, that there's a concern whether NDP has been meeting their contractual obligations for on-time notification and action. And I'm going through the logs which were provided to me to check and see exactly over the past period of time, for the past months, what their performance was, and I'll be reporting that back to the board, and we'll be discussing what action we may or may not need to take. We are still making progress on the new town hall. That is something which is going to be the work will really be getting underway next year. We have been able to have the grounds of the new town hall cleaned up for the winter. And one of the things that I'm aware of is that compared with this town hall, which really just has lawn around it, a little bit of hedge, which I've actually trimmed for the past 4 years. The new town hall has a lot more in the way of landscaping and trees and shrubbery that will need to be taken care of, but fortunately not for a little while. Okay, with that, I would like to go into the department and committee report. Bob, I think you have a report for us.
We have the 2024 material bid results. My recommendations are in bold print. Most everything went up 50 cents to $2 per ton. We had one new item this year, which is propane, which we've never had before. And Taylor Propane did it both ways, the traditional way that goes up and down. But they also offered a fixed price for the whole calendar year of $1.89 per gallon. This is my recommendation.
Are these prices that we've been offered on materials? Do they strike you as being in accord with what you were expecting?
Yes.
A lot of different items.
Yes, sir. Everything we need.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, yes.
So are some of the things that the recommendations based on a couple of things like the price and or your experience with these servicing of these companies or?
Some of these, like the first page are what they call FOBs, we go pick it up. So it's not only price, but it's also distance.
Yeah, I see.
All the delivered prices, they're just based on price, cheapest price.
Okay.
But when we go to pick stuff up, we also consider distance,
Right.
our time, fuel, wear and tear of the equipment. So even though it might be a little bit more per ton, it's worth it with the savings on other things.
Thank you.
Bob, do you have any thoughts about why we don't get more bids on fuel oil?
Not really I mean, they acknowledge when I send out the information, they acknowledge they receive it, and they just. Don't respond,
Yeah, it's,
I've never heard any reason why or anything.
mhm. No, it's striking to me. They're all companies which operate in our area.
Well, Bokeem did bid, but unfortunately FedEx didn't get it here.
Yeah.
We would have had Bokeem, but FedEx have been able to get here on time.
Right. I think when, we've talked about this before, but when we go out when we request bids. I think we need to tell people that they really need to get the bids here a day or two before the deadline. Having them walk in with the bid things, an hour after we've opened bids. Is sort of sad, because they've gone to the effort of preparing a bid. And it's, we sort of feel like, well, we should be able to look at it, but we don't, because it's come in after
Right.
the time it's going out.
I did have that conversation with a couple of facilities.
Okay, good.
Does Just Oil do number 2? In Falling? I mean, they don't do servicing, so I started as a resident and started using that, and they were very responsive, but I know it's past the deadline, so.
They don't certainly just deliver oil, they don't offer service. If that's the trouble we found in the past. If, say I called a company looking for service and we didn't buy oil from them, they'll tell you to go wherever you buy the oil, you get your service. Had that happen a couple times.
With that, unless there are any other questions for Bob, I'd entertain a motion to approve accepting these bids, if that is your recommendation, Bob.
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second. I'd like a roll call vote to accept the bids.
Yes. Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison. Aye. Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Do you have any other items to report in terms of the highway? Department?
We're just getting things ready for winter and stockpiling sand and salt and getting the equipment ready.
Any predictions on how much snow we're gonna get?
No, I wish I knew.
Me too. All right, that's good for that. Thank you, Bob. We do not have an assessor report. Tilly has provided the board with reports for planning, zoning, and building. And then we come to town board committees. Meg, I think you had some comments on the housing committee.
Yeah, so just a few items. I had the pleasure of joining an award ceremony in Hudson on October 19th. The state, Dee Dee Barrett and Assembly Speaker Carl Hasty had awarded for housing, a focus being Columbia County and Dutchess, $1.5 million to Habitat for Humanity for work to be done in Columbia. And then our good friends Hudson River Housing to focus on Dutchess County for $1.5 million to help out with the development of affordable rental units. So this was totally unexpected. It's a positive thing for our community, hopefully, that it will trickle down to some other projects, because things are going on right now in Amenia, in Pine Plains, and we hope to have a few things happening in Millerton and the town of Northeast. So that was really, really inspiring, and it should give some seed money maybe to some projects that could be jump-started with a little extra help. So Krista Hines will be in touch with some developers that had some interest and maybe on some bids that were a little far apart on some spaces here. And then another thing that had been brought to the attention from going to that seminar, that talk in Salisbury, was just the combination of affordable housing and conservation strategies. And since the Tri-Town Housing Committee had a meeting in October, and one of the guests was Erin Hoagland of the Duchess Land Conservancy, and she talked more about the recent project that Red Hook did as a town, along with the village, to acquire farmland and a whole huge parcel that they're splitting up into land conservancy, selling off for farming continue, and then approximately 12 acres to be left for possible housing that Repco might develop. So these funds were used from their community preservation funds and their inclusionary zoning funds. So in thinking more about this, it's like, well, where do these funds come from in their town? And like, how long have they been doing this? So I have a phone meeting planned with the supervisor of the town of Red Hook to ask him some info about these kind of funds. And these are all going out to bid for developers, and there'll be walking trails throughout the properties, and Repco did some beautiful, just some general like landscape with housing, and then, integrating into the natural environment. It's hard to see, but just to give, because that was, of course, a collaboration between the town and the village. So more info to come, because it's interesting too, since there are pretty close neighbors, to understand what they're doing too. So I'll come back on that.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, and with regards to buildings and grounds, I'm just going to give a brief report. I've talked about the new town hall. We are continuing to work on the plans for the interior of the new town hall. I'm also working on, I had a meeting with Gee Signs, who have done signs throughout the village. They've done Village Hall, they've done our town hall, they've done a lot of signs. Welcome to Millerton signs. And we went down and looked at the site there, and we will not be moving forward with a sign until we're actually in. We're also, I'm also looking at flagpole locations, because it doesn't have a flagpole at the moment. Certainly we were planning to have one. In terms of the new highway garage, we're continuing to make progress. We're continuing to be frustrated that we're not further along, which is what we talked about at the last time when we had the engineers present. And you may recall that the thing that was holding that up, because the building is complete certainly from the outside, is that a wash bay needs to be built inside the building. And they were having trouble finding masons to do that. And they have found masons, and the masons are now hard at work, and the walls are going up as we speak. So we'll keep you posted on that. The site is on the outside is in pretty much cleaned up. The generators in place, the propane tanks that will fuel it are in place. So, and I know Bob mentioned that he's stocked up with sand and salt for the winter time. So we're prepared to operate out of there for those purposes. Ralph, you gave a report on cemetery last time.
Yeah, there's nothing happening right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's all quiet at the cemetery.
Yes.
I couldn't resist.
Communications,
Communications,
Meg, Tilly and I met and we discussed some further changes that we tweaked the town website. And we got those those implemented, so
right,
if you want to.
No, that's.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just keep adding some things to it.
Yep.
yeah, well, I think the website is, we a few years ago, we did sort of a complete revamp of the website, and now what we're doing is sort of incrementally
Yes.
making it better, which is great, because I don't have the appetite to take on another big project like redo of the website.
Yeah, and it was good when I did go to the fire department's budget meeting. And there was concern from some people in the community that they tried to call the phone number that they had listed and got a fax machine. The fire department did say that phone number is not manned, so the best way to reach people was through an email, and then they were gonna relaunch or actually launch their website, which they did since that meeting, and Tilly's put all that updated info, because people want to know if there's no burn bans, some other info happening in town, so they were really helpful for that. So
Okay.
just trying to add some other things that people bring up at times, that they don't know where to go for
Mhm.
information and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. We keep making it better, and it will hopefully be at some point a great resource for everybody in town. We're about to have the public hearing, but the next item is for public comment on agenda items only. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Right, not hearing any. The next item is the public hearing on the town of Northeast 2024 budget. The preliminary budget has been presented. The town has, the town board has worked on that. We've worked on it in committee. We actually had, the whole board had a workshop meeting on the budget, which is the first time that we've done that in my memory. And it is available for public inspection, and with that, we now have a public hearing on it. I'd like to ask for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, could you do a roll call on this?
Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison, Councilman Fidel,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
and Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, with that, the public hearing is open, and we welcome anybody who would like to make comment on our town budget.
Chris, is nobody else going to decide it? Later at general public comment, I was going to bring up the landfill remediation for methane. And I'm wondering, is there money in the budget to support work for that in the coming year?
This piece of the meeting is the public hearing for
Okay,
public.
well, so let me rephrase
Yeah.
that. I would like to see money in the budget for methane remediation in the landfill. And I hope that if it's not there, that somebody on the town board will make a motion to amend the budget to include money for methane remediation in the land.
Thank you. Anyone else? With that, then I, not hearing any, with that, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Morrison, Councilman Fidel,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
and Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is a proposed contract with Ty and Bond for the wastewater district engineering services. As you all know, we've been working with the village. The village is really the lead agency on the construction of the wastewater system for the village and the town. And the village has retained Ty and Bond for the map plan and report portion of the system. This is really laying out the area that would be covered by a wastewater system, laying out the anticipated costs. And having agreement, in our case from the town, on the delineation of the wastewater district. The next item in this project is the preliminary engineering phase for the project. And the village, together with the town, but again, with the village being the lead agency, interviewed firms to do the preliminary engineering for the project. They had expressions of interest from, I believe 5 different firms, engineering firms, and they narrowed it down to 2 and then chose Ty & Bond as the best qualified firm to do the preliminary engineering. And it certainly had helped that the Ty & Bond had done all the work and was very familiar with both the village and the town. With that, they have the village has agreed to a contract with Ty & Bond for the preliminary engineering phase. And we have a similar contract now in front of us. The split between the village and the town for this project is roughly 80-20. And the cost for the preliminary engineering portion of the project to the town is $7,000. We have those funds. We have ARPA funds, which have been right from the very beginning allocated to water and wastewater. So we have those funds in hand. I've looked through the contract and I think that it is a good contract for us. Warren, I don't know if you have any comments on it. You may not have had a chance to see the village's version of the contract.
Yeah, I just,
But I believe that there were no changes.
no
made.
changes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that their contract was consistent with ours.
Right,
So it looks fine to me.
yes. I think you'll probably be receiving a copy of the village's contract in the mail tomorrow or
I
whenever.
have a copy, but it's not
Yeah.
signed. I wanted to make sure there were no changes to the
Right.
contract. they sent.
Well, I think we should stipulate then that if there are any changes that are significant and adverse to the town, that we reserve the right to bring that back and reopen it. But the next phase, the preliminary engineering phase of this is another step in this process. And this one actually involves, in the case of the town, we're really talking about the town, which is the boulevard, which is where our portion of the wastewater system will be, which are all commercial properties. And I have visited each of them and talked to each of them, and they are in large part very much looking forward to having this. Obviously, it gives them a lot of flexibility in terms of what they can have on their property going forward. The preliminary engineering phase of the project actually starts to lay out exactly where pipes go. And so it involves going to each parcel and seeing where sewer lines currently go out to a septic tank. And because the septic tanks become part of the engineering system. And so that the next step is to really find out exactly where all the septic tanks are that will be connected and lay those out. So this really is much more involved in terms of going to individual properties and doing that. So that's going to be going on during the next 6 months or something like that. But it is with each step, we move forward on this, and it continues to be something that I feel is very important for the town. It is the main thing which potential developers of the supermarket site have talked about in terms of being able to attract a food market here. So this is at the top of my list of things that I would like to see us be able to do. They have all said we need a wastewater system. we're very interested in being here when you build it. And, or even maybe before we build it, but when they can really see clearly that it is going to happen. The funds have been identified, the funding is in place and so on. So anyway, with that long speech, I would ask if anybody on the board has any questions about that. Otherwise, I would entertain motion to authorize me to sign the contract with Ty and Bond.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? And again, I'd like to
Roll call.
ask for a roll call on this.
Supervisor Cannon,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison. Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler.
Okay, the next item is really fairly obscure item, but when I was first on the board, it took me a while to understand this one. It's called the water re-levy list. And this is a list of properties in the town of Northeast with unpaid water bills to be sent to Dutchess County for collection. And what we have to do is the board approves a motion to authorize this list being sent to the county, and then those unpaid water bills become part of their tax bill. And I have distributed a copy of the properties with unpaid water bills to the board. And I would like to ask for a motion to authorize the list of properties to be sent to Dutchess County for collection and the amounts listed.
I'll move.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have talked about the next item is the 10 Mile River Watershed Plan. This is something that when I first went on the board, George Kay was very involved in and supportive of the town being involved in the 10 Mile River Watershed. It certainly made me more aware of where we are in terms of the watershed. And the fact that the vast bulk of the streams and swamplands and wetlands in the town flow into the Weavatuck, which flows into the 10 Mile, which flows into the Housatonic, which flows into Long Island Sound. But also, I learned as part of that the very northwestern corner of the town, the water in that very far distant corner of the town actually flows into the Hudson. But we are, for the vast part of the town in the Housatonic Valley's 10 Mile watershed. They have been working very hard on a plan to protect the watershed. And they have distributed the plan to us and to the other towns around us. The other towns around us have all passed motions to approve the watershed. I think it's a good plan, and I support the town giving its approval to the watershed plan. With that, I have a motion to approve the 10 Mile River Watershed Plan. Actually, there's a resolution here. Tilly, you kind enough to read the resolution?
Can I read your copy?
You can certainly read it.
Okay, to approve the 10 Mile Watershed Plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Northeast does hereby adopt the 10 Mile River Watershed Management Plan, and be it further resolved that a copy of the 10 Mile River Watershed Management Plan shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk. So. And
Okay.
it's right there.
Right.
194 pages.
With that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second,
And could you conduct a roll call? on the
Yes.
resolution?
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison,
aye.
Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. So that is approved. Would you, when you are next in the office, could you make sure that that gets to Kathy Chow?
Mhm.
And
Yes,
because she wants to make sure that that gets to Houstonic Valley Association. The next item is a small revision to the employee manual. What this does is make a change in the health insurance coverage, which we apply, which we offer to town employees. And for full-time town employees, which is those working 40 hours a week, the employee contributes 15% of their premium, and the town pays 85%. And we are proposing, as part of our work that we did on the budget, to make that a 0% for the employees and for the town to pick up the last 15% of the healthcare premiums. In order to do that, we need to, the board needs to approve this as an addendum to employee policy, which will go into the employee manual. The budget committee met, discussed this, and recommends its approval. So with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the addendum.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. With that, we come back to the 2024 budget. I think this is a good budget for the town. We always would like to see a budget that does nothing in terms of increases for taxes, but we also are aware that we have a lot of work that we're conducting, and a lot of employees whose work for the town is much appreciated, and the quality of that work has really been exceptional. So I am happy with the budget that has been presented. I will make note of Bill Kish's comment. That is something that I agree with, and I want to make sure that we work to provide for that. We will be getting back to discussion of the landfill at some point. So with that, is there any member of the board who has any further comment on the budget? Not hearing any, I would entertain a motion to approve the town of Northeast 2024 budget.
So moved.
second,
All in favor, and this is definitely a roll call.
Supervisor Kennen,
Aye.
Councilman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fidele,
Aye.
Councilman Midwood,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Rich,
Yeah, okay, so it's winter again, we're getting ready for our own open challenges. In the past years, there has been discussion about trying out a grinding system, and I don't know if anything's come of it, but I would hope that given Rhinebeck's experience with reducing their road salt and saving money, that we are continuing to look at it or making some serious provisions to, lay out the money that would save us money in the future.
I'm glad you brought that up. We have looked at it. We know that there's a substantial investment in equipment in order to be able to do that with a truck and the brining equipment. But I think that we all share the desire to be able to, for our cars to last a little longer without rusting out and to protect the watershed. So, my reaction is that we are eager to look more at brining, because I think the brining solution of the ones that we've heard of seem to be the ones that are the most appropriate for our town. Andrew,
I was thinking about this whole brining thing today. I have a question for Bob. Everyone's saying that it has to be put on a truck. Would it be feasible to have a dedicated trailer that the brining system's on and it just lives on it, and then you don't need to worry about having a truck?
Oh, it's a possibility. I'd like to research that a little bit. It's a possibility.
Because everyone's not, we gotta get a truck, you have a truck. Get a trailer. This trailer, a used trailer shouldn't be that expensive.
so Andrew, I'd just like to remind you that this is public comment session to the board,
Okay,
okay? So I appreciate the question and the suggestions.
how about a trailer?
Any other comments?
Directly to comments, so I will. I've got two points. So the rumor mill, says that, Dollar General has decided not to move forward with their project. I don't know if it's true or not. If they have made that decision, the impediment that was blocking the board from considering a moratorium on, development until, the adoption of our new zoning, goes away. So I wonder if the board would consider that moratorium recommendation in that event. And I welcome, some feedback if you so choose.
I have heard that as a rumor, only as a rumor. So,
I may know between now and the next meeting, so.
yeah, I'm sure I will be able to, let people know something more definitive.
Okay. Next comment goes back to the landfill again. When the Climate Smart Committee presented their findings, it was pretty obvious that far and away the most significant climate impact that the town has is the methane emissions from the landfill. Most people know that methane is between 85 and 90 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. So there's really nothing that the town could do that's more important in terms of climate than quantifying and potentially remediating that. And I know that that's been something that's been, kind of on the back burner for a very long time. I think it's important to move it into the front burner in 2024. And, I'm not sure how that would happen, but I would certainly appreciate being kept apprised. And I think the rest of the community would appreciate being kept apprised of that. Every month that goes undone, methane is escaping. So it's really critical.
Thank you. I can tell you right now that it is no longer on the back burner. It's moving quickly to the front burner. So I will be able to give you a lot more information, but we have we're spending time on it. We will be spending time on it. Any other public comment? Hearing none. Then we're going to the supervisor's report. Like a budget adjustment. For A fund, an expense increase of $9,493, less an expense decrease of $6,900, less a revenue increase of $2,593 for a net of zero in A fund. For B fund, we have an expense increase of $382, less a revenue increase of $382. And for DB fund, highway fund, we have an expense increase of $1,467, less a revenue increase of $1,467 for a net of zero. Could I have a motion to approve the budget adjustments?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I have a special abstract dated October 31st, 2023, totaling $476.63, broken down as follows. A fund, $476.63. Could I have a motion to accept the special abstract?
So moved. Second.
Who was first?
Lana,
Lana. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have an abstract dated November 9th, 2023, totaling $601,018.21, broken down as follows. A fund, $49,426.58. B fund, $6,290.66. DB fund, $67,811.97. Capital projects H1, $457,408.02. Water district SW1, $16,267.25. TNA escrow, TNA2 escrow, $3,557.50. Payroll TNA $256.23. Could I have a motion to accept the abstract?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The voucher committee for December is Lana Morrison and John Midwood. I would just note that this will be John Midwood's last voucher committee.
It's true.
Mhm.
We're coming up to a watershed moment, John.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, I don't want you crying on me.
Yeah, last voucher committee.
We have in front of us minutes from meetings of October 12th and October 13th of 23 that have been sent to us by town clerk. I would like to ask for if there are any changes that anybody has seen in the minutes that need to be made. If not, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of those meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I don't believe we need a meeting, an executive committee meeting or a meeting with council. I know that you have sent us some emails, which I will be distributing to the board for their review tomorrow.
Sure. I did have one question. Did you want to do something about the garbage haulers licensing provision on the code?
This was an interesting thing. That was It was brought to my attention that, when was it that we last licensed garbage haulers?
1982.
1982, the town last licensed garbage haulers in the town. And I was asked whether this was something that we should bring up again. And I suggested to Tilly that she do a little research and find out if towns around us do anything in this respect. The answer, a resounding no, they don't. So I don't plan to ask the board for us to be the only town that makes garbage haulers got a license to do that from us. They are very much licensed by the state and I think by the county.
So if you want to do something about that, I can do a local law. I wouldn't revoke the entire provision law, because there's some things in there about placing garbage on the streets that you want to keep in there. So I can do a local law amending it to take out the licensing aspect of that.
Okay. That would be great. And maybe we could make sure, look at it and talk about it and see if there's anything else in that law that needs tweaking.
Yeah, I'll look through it, but I just looked through it quickly. There are some things that definitely should come out, and there's some things that we should keep in.
You know, in that respect, and I just mentioned it since we're talking about it, I get a lot of calls from people who want to know why we have a transfer station essentially in the town, out on the boulevard, that we can't use. And it is, I have asked the town of Salisbury about this. It was actually brought to my attention some years ago when I was on the board before I became supervisor, when somebody from Sharon, who is part of that group, the two towns of Sharon and Salisbury, Lakeville, together operate that. They wanted to know whether we were interested in going in with them on the transfer station, and George Kay and I talked about it, and we absolutely got back to them saying we were very interested in being able to do that. And then there was a deafening silence. And when I called the first selectman of Salisbury to ask about it, it said, turns out that state of Connecticut will not accept any waste that has been generated outside of the state. To me, this is something that really would be worth going after, because there are lots of things that happen across state lines. For instance, ambulances can go across state lines, fire trucks go across state lines. And it is, you know, the idea that an immediately neighboring town should not be able to benefit from that transfer station. And it is, you know, it would be in their interest. The more users, you know, the lower the cost to the towns involved. So something I'm going to keep working on.
Could talk to like the Connecticut state representatives to see if that is a firm law, and we can make a change to the state law.
Yeah, well, it might be something that towns around the, you know, the border of Connecticut would pick up. But it is, you know, it is crazy to have a neighboring town that is as close to us as Amenia or you know, or Pine Plains, which is essentially like, you know, that border is just impenetrable.
And Chris, on that note, we did put on the website Stanfordville's info. Because non-citizens can get a permit for $45 a year, and they use Welsh and Aid Recycling, and it's very well laid out. They're open 2 days a week, so we put that there. And many residents bring up, like, why doesn't our town have composting or, you know, recycling center? And that's come up a couple of things, like at times, like, well, we're building a new highway garage, why don't we have recycling? So I know that's not on the table right now, and McEnroe's has a great recycling for composting. So we've updated that on the website, you know, for our citizens too. So meantime, there are a few options for people to
I think that's great, because that is a question people ask us all the time, is where can I take stuff? Different kinds of stuff.
It is excessive cost,
Yeah.
especially for people who don't generate a lot of garbage. Those bins are just huge and it's, I believe, up to $70 every, what is it, month or 2 months or something. So it is a burden on the residents, so. I would love if you could, if we can, you know, work on the Connecticut thing too. In the meantime, Stanfordville for me.
Yeah.
And my neighbors, we
Mhm.
share, so.
Where is the one in Stanfordville?
It's actually off of Amenia Bengal Road. It's almost.
Is it just up the road from Bengal?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Up
So
the hill.
it's almost hidden. So from one angle, you can see the sign, the other you cannot. And they're open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So if you buy a yearly permit for $45, residents pay $4 a bag, for example, and non-residents pay $5, and then all recycling is free. And they have some larger items like mattresses and things like that, that just like the one here, $15, whatever.
Yeah, it would be interesting for us to know, you know, what the prices, you know, are, for instance, the prices that we charge when our bulk trash day.
Sure.
And what items we aren't able to take that you
Mhm.
can take to,
Yeah, they don't do electronics
Yeah.
right now. They are really a tight operation, and looking at their budget, I believe it was only $150,000 a year, which I found shockingly little
Mhm.
and a very tight setup. So it's a good thing for towns to look at, I think, you know, in the future. I don't know if we have a space for that kind of thing, but it is really well done. So,
Yeah.
but so it's on the website right now too, under utilities and services.
Right,
Okay.
okay, with that, I think we're at the end. I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you, we are adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Warren. Good night. Have a good night.
You too?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Warren, do you have travel plans?
No, we're entertaining, everybody's invading us. So
Oh, wow.
I'll be here there.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, good.
Retirement, I have to make it December 1st, so I need everybody to sign up.